ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं हरिः ओम। In the beginning, I reverentially prostrate before Param Pujya Swami Shivananda Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Swami Shivanandaya Namaha. Then I prostrate before Param Pujya Swami Chidananda Maharaj. I am pleased to participate in this Chidananda Kathamritam retreat. Hearty welcome and greetings to all those who are participating in it directly or remotely. The most important memory that I have is when Swamiji Maharaj called me as his spiritual nephew. What a great blessing! Such a Mahatma establishing such relationship with me. So now he is my spiritual uncle. I did not have opportunity to live with him or serve him, but I would like to share few memories which are extremely important to me personally and also to our Chinmay mission as a whole. In the year 1993, our Sri Gurudev was on his American tour, and I had the great fortune to be with him. In San Diego, he suffered from heart problems, and as far as we are concerned, as we have observed, he was not conscious. What you call artificial supporting system and all that. You can understand the anxiety of the devotees who were present there. At such a time, it so happened that Swami Chidananda Maharaj was also in San Diego, and he was very kind to visit us in the hospital and to see Puja Gurudev. And he had a satsang with us, which was so very comforting, consoling, and reassuring. After that satsang, he left for Washington, D.C. Then on the 3rd of August, our Puja Gurudev attained Mahasamadhi. We all were at a loss, and I had no idea as to what to do. But since Swami Maharaj had visited us, so I called him and informed him. He very kindly inquired whether we are going to give samadhi, bhu samadhi, and take the body to India. I said yes. So he said, and see that the body immediately made in a sitting posture, because afterwards you can't do it. We did that, And we brought Puja Gurudev's that body to India. Now in Siddhabadi, Himachal Pradesh, we gave the Samadhi. But what he informed me, that in case of sannyasis, the special pujas that is done is on 16th day. It's called Shodashi. I tell you, I had no idea of such a thing, and none of us had. He said, on 16th day, we have to invite 16 sannyasis, and each one is to be given 16 useful items with dakshina, food and all that, which was a totally new information. But we followed it, and now we know what it is. But from these incidents, what I learned, it is said in Taittiriya Upanishad that atha yadi te karma vichikitsa va vritta chikitsa va syat, if you have got any doubt about any karma or any particular matter, then you must approach great wise people of extremely pure mind and seek advice from them and follow them. This is what I learned. Who could have been the best or any other person to guide us in that respect? So this was the one very important one. Then it was my proud privilege that I became the first successor or the head of the Chinmaya mission. I had no experience of any administration. In those days, Puja Gurudev wanted to have an international residential school in India. His idea was that the children of our Indian parents settled down outside India should come to India, stay here for some time, so that they can absorb certain cultural aspects and they can go back and pursue their studies. During our Sri Gurudev's life, the school did not come, but he had already laid the foundation stone in Coimbatore. And by God's grace and Sri Gurudev's blessings, that school became a reality in the year 1996. I thought if Sri Gurudev were there, he would have inaugurated that. But in his absence, I could think of only Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj in his place to come and inaugurate this school. And when we requested, immediately, graciously, he accepted. He came to Coimbatore and inaugurated the school, Chinmaya International Residential School, we call CIRS. And I am very pleased to inform you that now this school is one of the top schools. The blessings of great Mahatmas, they are evident. This is the second incident. The importance of blessings. Many people don't understand that. Then the third one. We had an idea that in our Sandipani Sadhanalaya in Mumbai, that to have Pujya Gurudev Pratima, a statue. Then again, who will do the unveiling ceremony? I was too young at that time. I said only Swamiji Maharaj should come and he should do that. Once again requested, again he accepted and he came. Now I went to the Mumbai airport to receive him. What I saw, that when our Gurudev used to arrive, he used to arrive, see everyone, walk so fast, sit in the car, and then in few minutes we used to say he's already gone to his place of his host. But Swamiji Maharaj was not like that at all. He was not in a hurry in the least. He came, sat there at the airport only, and other than me, there were some few devotees who had come to receive him, meet him. They also sat. I was thinking when he gets up, but he had no hurry. He started singing, asking them to sing. Then took out some prasad, gave to everybody, slowly getting up, walking, and he went away. He inaugurated, unveiled that Pratima of Sri Gurudev. Now what I see, there are so many saints and Mahatmas, their outward expressions are so different, so different. Everything is. And if we have only one particular idea of a guru or a saint, and sometimes we get confused. But we should not go by only outer things and differences. Samartha Ramdas Swami in his Marathi Granth says, कि साधू दिसती वेगळाले परिते स्वस्वरूपी मिळाले. All the sadhu saints, they appear different, but in their realization of truth, they all are one. We should be able to see that light of divinity which shines in their heart, in their eyes and on their face. And just to be in their presence, as called basking in their presence, it's sheer joy. Those who have experienced it with any such Mahatmas, they know it. I have no doubt. This is one more point. Another interesting aspect which I have found, that when he used to conduct satsang, Swamiji Maharaj, he may start speaking in English, he'll move into Hindi, sometimes Marathi, Konkani, or effortlessly just. A person reveling. So why there should be any restriction? That was another very pleasing characteristic. Then I had an opportunity to listen to his talk in Mumbai. I don't remember many points, all points, because long time back. But one thing is in my mind. In our spiritual scriptures, it is said, that this whole samsara world is called dukkhalayam. It's an abode, a house of sorrow only. Dukkhalayam. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So Swami was speaking on that, and he said, it is not a wonder that there is sorrow. It is called dukkhalayam. He said, if you go to Vastralaya, what will you get? What do you expect to get? Clothes, right? And such material. If you go to Aushadhalaya, medicines, in Vidyalaya, education. He said, this samsara is called dukkhalaya. Dukkhalaya, there is dukkham. But how long? That is important. Bhagavan Sri Krishna has said, when he called dukkhalayam, he said, Mam upetito kaunteya. Those people who worship me and come to me, then na apnuvanti punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. When they come to me, then they don't come back to this samsara of sorrow. That's why it is repeatedly said in the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, or Bhagavadadi Puranas, that this samsara is continuously changing, but our sorrow is due to our ignorance, born identification with the body and other things and our attachments. And when that ignorance of truth you call, or ignorance of that Paramatma, Bhagavan goes away, then dukkha ends, because when the cause goes away, effect also goes away. And ignorance is such a thing that once it is gone, it does not make a comeback. Because in the light of knowledge, ignorance cannot come back. So the Mahatmas, their teaching is very simple, but we find it very difficult because our own attachments are very deep rooted. But if we follow it, it will be most wonderful. Now, we find in our spiritual literature different words. Sant, Mahatma, Bhakta, Sadhu, Sannyasi, Guru, such words are there. Even though all these words actually refer to a person, a man or woman who is enlightened. But still every word has got its own connotation. A sant, a saint, is one who knows Sat Vastu, and also noble hearted. When we say Bhakta, in that there is a preponderance of love and devotion for God. Bhakta. When we say Sadhu, Sadhu is good, and Sadhu is one ever ready to help people achieve their goals, their work. Titikshavaha, karunikaha, sadhavaha, sadhubhushanaha. The sadhus are such They endure their own sorrows, difficulties, pain and all that, but they are most compassionate towards the sorrows of others. Such sadhus are, they are great ornaments of sadhus, sadhu bhushana. Santa, bhakta, sadhu, Mahatma. When we say, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Mahatma means not akshudra buddhi, the one who is not narrow-minded person, large-hearted. Why? Because Vasudeva Sarvamiti sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Because when the realization of that person that the whole world is nothing but that Vasudeva Paramatma, how can he remain narrow-minded? That's called Mahatma. Sannyasi. Sannyasi, in the language of only Bhagavad Gita and all very clearly said, that person sannyasi who has risen above all personal raga dveshas. Nyayasa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kangshati. That is one stage. And still higher is the one who has risen above the very sense of ego, which has all likes and dislikes, very sense of doership, enjoyership. Sadguru, the one who enlightens his students, disciples. Now I was thinking, in what class I will put Swami Chidanandaji Maharaj. And I say, we can't make any distinction. He is Santa, Sadhu, Bhakta, Mahatma, Sadguru, Sannyasi. His Guru Bhakti is very well known. Guru Bhakti of Param Guru, Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj. What they call all in one. I am very glad that you have organized this Chidananda Kathamrutam retreat. How many kinds of Amrutams are there? Amrutam, nectar, ambrosia. The famous in the Puranas is that of the churning of the Milky Ocean and that Amrita came, but it did not do much good to anyone. So I will just mention few Amrutas. One is called Namamrutam. Goswami Tulsidaji says, Dhanyaste krutina pibanti satatam ye Rama Namamrutam. Blessed indeed are those who always drink the nectar of Sri Ram Nam. That's called Namamrutam. Then in Bhagavatam we find Gopikas were with Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and in between Bhagavan Shri Krishna left and they were searching for him. And at that time they said, Tava katha amritam tapta jivanam. Bhagavan, your katha, when we remember the stories of your glories, they are like nectar. Tava katha, tapta jivan, those who are scorched in the heat of samsara, for them it is so very cooling. Shravana Mangalam, only as you listen to that they purify. Kathamrutam is second Amrutam. Third is called Jnanamrutam, the nectar of knowledge, self-knowledge, about which it is said, Jnanamrutena truptasya कृतकृत्यस्य योगिनः न चैवास्ति किंचित कर्तव्यम अस्ति चेत न स तत्ववित्. The one who is completely contented with the nectar of knowledge, self-knowledge, then that person has no more duties to perform in this world. Kartavyam is there as long as there is praptavyam. As long as there remains something to be achieved, there remains something to be done also. Jal labdhva na paro labha. But the Paramatma is that gain, having gained which there cannot be any greater gain. So what do we have to achieve? Krutakrutya. If someone says, the shloka says, that if someone says or feels that I have got knowledge, but still I have got duties, they say that that person does not know what truth is. Asti chet na tattvavit. But at the same time, I would like to tell one Shastra Siddhanta that even though for such a person who is enlightened, and nothing more to achieve and no more duties, but still there remains one duty. Not to achieve anything new, but to express the gratitude towards that Guru, that Bhagwan, and to that Vedanta Shastra, from whom that student got all this knowledge. And that gratitude is there. And the Shishya says, when Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra ji got knowledge from Vasishtha Rishi, which is famous in Yoga Vasishtha, he says, hey Guru, by your grace, now I have no more duties to achieve anything for myself. I am beyond all the injunctions of the Vedas. But now what you say, that is vidhi for me. That's a command. Your wish is my command. And what you say, don't do, that's another command. That is called Guru Bhakti. That's called Kritanyata. That is called surrender. All those who are such Mahatmas, you read the biographies of great saints, you will find all these qualities in them. And so this Kathamritam retreat will give chance to all devotees to remember their days they must have spent with Swamiji. They must have served him, and what all blessings they received from him in so many ways. I am sure this retreat will be very, very spiritually enriching, elevating, enlightening. I convey my thanks, particularly Swami Yati Dharmananda, who called me, invited. Namaskar to all Mahatmas who are present there. And I also take this opportunity to again do my prostrations to Revered Swamiji Maharaj. Om Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.